Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the Daily Show where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Mark Ellis.
Welcome one and all to the best movie news show in the entire galaxy, and you guys have come to the right place for all of your Comic-Con 2016 coverage. As you can tell by the sound of my voice, I'm excited to bring it to you, and I'm a little tired from the weekend that was. Ashley, before you introduce us to the panel, and before we get to all these great Comic-Con stories, you actually made it. You made good on your word to get down to San Diego, attend the meet and greet. You danced the night away. How was it?
I had so much fun, but apparently I lost my clock over there.
Well, you know, you were a little late this morning, and I felt the need to point it out.
It wasn't my fault. Also here at Dennis Zen.
Yeah, and we're back. I feel weird being in the studio instead of that room we had at Comic-Con. We had so much coverage there. Had a lot of fun in the meet and greet. I want to thank everyone who came out to that. Also want to thank the Collider video team we have here. We did so much work there. Wendy, Adam, Cody, Jonathan, Frank, Perry, and Riley. All these people, sometimes you guys don't see all these people. They're working really hard behind the scenes to get all that stuff done.
Yeah, see, who needs money when you can just have claps, right, guys?
Good pat on the back. Also here, Kristian Harloff.
I'd like to also echo those sentiments. Not only the Collider crew kick ass, the Schmoes crew really kicked ass. We had Cobster and Aaron, who edits videos here for us at Collider. A lot of times the Schmodown videos, he was kicking a lot of ass. We put up over like 43 videos for Comic-Con. So thanks to the entire crew, and especially Ace, David Griffin, and Mike Medina, who covered all the television stuff on the Schmoes side. It was really a team effort, and everybody on the Collider and Schmoes team kicked ass.
It was absolute domination by everybody involved, and we were just thrilled to be here. And yes, we're very tired, but we want to bring you all this exciting news today, A, because it's really cool to talk about, and B, because you guys proved yet again that y'all are the best fans in the world. So before we get to all the exciting Comic-Con stuff, which we will get to in earnest, we do have that box office report to get to. Ashley, what happened at the movie theaters this weekend?
Well, it's Monday, which means it's time for the weekend box office report, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. Star Trek Beyond took the #1 spot opening weekend, beaming up an estimated $59.6 million, but falling short of Star Trek Into Darkness, $70.1 million, and Star Trek $75.2 million. Taking the #2 spot was The Secret Life of Pets with an estimated $29.3 million. The film has now grossed over $260 million domestically. Ghostbusters and Lights Out tied for the #3 spot, each taking in $21.6 million. Ghostbusters has now earned $86.9 million domestically so far, but will need to do well overseas in order to make back its $144 million budget. Lights Out $21.6 million debut is a major win for New Line Cinema, with the paranormal horror movie already making back its $5 million budget. And taking the #5 spot, the other wide release of the weekend, Ice Age Collision Course. The fifth film in the animated series, bombed stateside with $21 million off a $105 million budget. Until now, no Ice Age film has opened with less than $41 million. Mark, thoughts on Ice Age's less than stellar opening weekend?
Well, that actually was the first thing that I noticed when I looked at the box office report. I'd love to talk to you guys and open with Star Trek Beyond's numbers, or maybe if Ghostbusters should deserve a sequel for not making its budget back domestically, but it was the #4 and the #5 spot that got my attention, because one, you have Ice Age Collision Course, or whatever it was called, and it just seems like that guy has been trying to get an acorn for 5 movies, and I think that might have been his last shot. I didn't see the movie. I hope he got it by the end, because I don't see another Ice Age coming around anytime soon. And then Lights Out, I am thrilled that a movie I haven't seen yet did as well as it did, because I was very excited to check it out. It seems like a lot of fans enjoyed it. They got really scared by it. $5 million budget, and it's already quadrupled it, so that's really exciting to see a director like David Sandberg, a production house like James Wan's company, able to crank out a horror film that is both really good and terrifying, and also successful, that it responded with audiences. Kristian, I go to you to get all this update on Star Trek Beyond. Is that good? Is that bad? Or are you indifferent?
I thought it was going to make between like 60 and 70. So, and for me, I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's been kind of mixed. Some people really loved it. Some people were disappointed by it, but I liked it a lot, and I probably want to see it again, to be honest with you. So I think 60 million for the fact that you don't have J.J. Abrams this round. The trailers were kind of mixed, but I think that's all right, and I think it'll do okay in its second week. Pets is the reason that Ice Age ate a bucket because you still have Pets that's doing really well, 30 million on its third week out there. It, like you were saying, it's a tired franchise. It almost seems like I didn't mind the movie. My daughter went up seeing it again, by the way. But it was funny though.
The Harloffs love the Ice Age
No, you know what's
movies.
funny? My wife took her to see it, and she said, as she's sitting there, she's like, "Oh crap!" Kristian said this was just specifically like for kids, and my daughter ate it up again. My wife was bored to tears because it had nothing for adults. Where she loved Inside Out and she loved Zootopia, but she just there was just nothing else for adults there. And again, I just think that's the reason why. It's because Pets. But I'll tell you, Ghostbusters, even though it's going to take some time to make their money back, the drop off wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be in about 12 to 15. The fact that it hit 21, I still don't think it warrants a sequel, but we'll see.
Yeah, Dennis, it seems to be pacing itself just under Secret Life of Pets every week, and it will continue to do that. Do you see Ghostbusters being able to make enough international dollars to warrant a sequel or a franchise?
I think so. I think they're hoping that at least getting close to breaking even, and that will indicate that, okay, maybe we can go with another sequel. They want to make this thing a franchise because it's not just movies. They want to make TV shows, cartoons, toys, all this stuff. So I think they're going to push really hard for that. Lights Out stood out because it's like people are trying to follow that kind of Blumhouse kind of formula where like let's only put $5 to $10 million into this horror film, and we can open much, much bigger and get our money back. I kind of like that formula because most of these studios are trying to knock it out of the park with, let's say, spending $150 million, and then you're going to get those flops like this Ice Age movie, which I think cost over $100 million, and like it only made $20 million in its opening weekend. Like when people were trying to talk about Ghostbusters being a flop, this is even a giant one.
I agree. It's too much of a risk.
Yeah.
It's too much of a risk, especially that there's been some, lack of interest for the franchise. But you guys are right. The thing with Lights Out that I want to bring up, when you have a producer like James Wan, not only is the formula of make it smaller, a smaller budget, and try to capitalize on it, it's also take it seriously and don't just crap out with the bad actors, or get quality actors, make it seem like a real movie, not just some kind of scare fest. That's not, because I know that they sold it on the fact that it was really creepy, but it was also like a legitimate movie, a legitimate film.
It does seem like it might be able to hold up a little bit better in its second and third week of release because the reviews are good, but that opening weekend, man, a horror movie is a lot like a pop song. If you have a great hook, and Lights Out clearly had a great hook, it's going to do well, and I'm happy to see it. Now I just have to check out the actual movie. And with that, we are on to all of our Comic-Con coverage. Now, a quick reminder, when you guys go to Collider Video, you go to Schmoes, you're going to see a bunch of videos recapping all of the excitement that was at Comic-Con, and now we're going to put it into a nice little package for you here with the biggest hits that we got. The most exciting stuff is going to happen in the next 45 minutes. What's up first, Ashley?
Warner Brothers released the first trailer for Justice League soon after the teaser from director Zack Snyder's dropped at the Hall H panel at Comic-Con. The follow-up to Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice finds Batman, played by Ben Affleck, and Wonder Woman, played by Gal Gadot, putting together a team that includes Aquaman, Jason Momoa, The Flash, Ezra Miller, and Cyborg, Ray Fisher, to combat a looming threat. The film also stars J.K. Simmons, Willem Dafoe, Amber Heard, and Henry Cavill. Justice League opens in theaters on November 17, 2017. Kristian, what did you think of the first trailer for Zack Snyder's Justice League?
I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. I actually did a live reaction / review on Fandango. We were live streaming the entire time, and the Wonder Woman one had dropped, and then Justice League dropped, and I was like, oh, yeah, let me just do it live. And I did, and I was so happy that I did because I like the way that it's. I knew we knew this was going to happen. I think that there was kind of rumors that Justice League was going to show up at Comic-Con, but because of those set visits that they did, and because you guys have to remember, normally when studios do set visits, you don't get the reports until about a month before the movie comes out, and this is a year plus, and we got all those reports like they're going to show something. They want to show this tone, and they did. It had a serious tone for sure, but then it added a lot of good comedy in there that didn't seem jarring. The issue with you, that was jarring in the trailers. The Flash stuff, for me anyway, worked well. The stuff when Bruce Wayne and Wonder Woman are sitting together and they're talking about it, he's like more or less like the entire thing. He's like, He said no. He said no. Their timing was great. She looks great in the movie. I think seeing this after Wonder Woman trailer also helped me because I just seen what they're going to do with her. And now that he's recruiting her, recruiting Aquaman, Cyborg had a little bit more to do. But it was really the interaction between Batman and the Flash. And I did have some flashbacks to both Tony Stark and Peter Parker for sure. And I'm okay with that. It's fine. It's like they're competing in the same game now. It was where it was like up here. This trailer right now, I know that we still have our doubts. Some of us still have our doubts about Zack Snyder, but I do think from what they pitched here, it looks like we're on the right track. But someone else said, well, so did all the Batman versus Superman trailers. No, they didn't. Not all of them. And I know that we haven't seen all the Justice League yet, but I just thought this was a really good start.
I'd love to be that guy that cautions everybody that says that, well, look, yeah, you can have a great trailer and it's not necessarily a great movie, but I'm not going to be that dude yet because I loved this. I absolutely loved every second of this clip, this trailer, whatever you want to call it for Justice League, because it focused on the best parts of Batman v Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, and some of the most exciting cameos we got from that movie, Aquaman and the Flash. Nobody's ever going to make fun of Aquaman again. No. He's never going to be the butt of another joke. No. I might be him for Halloween if I can get in that kind of shape. I loved watching him go back and forth with Aquaman, and then the dichotomy of that and how hard that pitch is going to be to get him to join the Justice League versus the Flash, and that comedic moment that Kristian brought up where he's like, yeah, I'm totally in. Like, seeing Bruce Wayne take on the role of like a Pat Riley, putting together a super team and having Wonder Woman work with him for this, it's everything that I wanted to see. The best part about it is that as much as I did not love Batman v Superman, I did not want Justice League and Zack Snyder to take a totally different direction with this. They were driving, they went off the road a little bit, they course corrected enough. There's a little bit more levity, there's going to be some sense of humor, but there's also going to have that DC gritty tone that we want. So far, it's early, but this movie looks to be on the perfect track. Dennis, what was your take?
Well, the movie, or the trailer or footage or whatever you want to call it, started off well for me because they started off with the White Stripes song, Icky Thump, in the background. Yeah, seeing Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne play that Iron Man, Tony Stark role, gathering everyone together was kind of cool. And Kristian's right, the humor was, it seemed to fit a lot better. And I don't know how maybe some of the DC diehard fans are going to feel about this. Are they going to say, oh, is this too Marvel-like? Are they trying to copy Marvel and they're going to be upset by it? But I thought it fit well. And then the Flash costume. That, I think, was one of the biggest things because we got to see it's a lot different than the one we see on television. This one seems kind of more like almost like a mech suit. You can actually see that it's already there in that sequence that Bruce Wayne goes and talks to Barry Allen. So when I first saw the trailer the first time, I thought maybe Bruce Wayne put some Wayne technology behind this suit, but it looks like that suit was already there. And then we saw Cyborg, who looks very similar to the comic book version to him, but a little more modern.
Yeah, it was great seeing all of them at the DC panel, which I was lucky enough to be there for, and you see them all on stage, and they introduced this footage, and it got such a great pop in the room, particularly when the Flash notices who he's dealing with, that this is actually Bruce Wayne / Batman. When he sees the Batarang going by in slow motion, everything about this worked for me. It was really one of the highlights of Comic-Con, I guess, for all of us. All right, Ash, what's our next story?
On Saturday, Warner Brothers unveiled the very first trailer for Wonder Woman during its Comic-Con 2016 panel. Directed by Patty Jenkins, the film stars Gal Gadot and tells the origin story of the character we met in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Set in the midst of World War I, Diana Prince's island paradise, life is appended when an American pilot played by Chris Pine crash lands, telling of a conflict happening in the outside world, which spurs Diana into action. Written by Jeff Johns and Alan Heinberg, the film also stars Connie Nielsen, Robin Wright, David Thewlis, Danny Houston, Elena Anaya, Ewan Bremner, and Saeed Togmawi. Wonder Woman opens in theaters on June 2nd, 2017. Dennis, what do you think of the very first trailer for Wonder Woman?
So with the Justice League footage and this Wonder Woman trailer, we kind of had a little divide in our little Collider press room 411B. Half of us were like, oh, we like the Wonder Woman trailer more. So half of us like the Justice League trailer more. I personally thought the Wonder Woman trailer was the best trailer I saw all at Comic-Con. I thought I was already looking forward to this movie because Batman v Superman, people know, I liked it, but I didn't love it. But the two best things for me were Batman, Ben Affleck as Batman, and Wonder Woman. We didn't see a lot of her, but her action sequences looked great. The three things I was looking forward to in this trailer were more of the story, more of Gal Gadot, more dialogue or acting, and we got a little of both of those. But then the third thing, obviously, was action, and I loved all the action in here, like her riding on the horse with her sword, the lasso sequences, her sliding on the ground, like in that picture right there, looked fantastic. So I'm actually I already was looking forward to this. Now it's like at a much higher level.
Yeah, you mentioned the action. That was the highlight of this trailer for me, and it was something that I really liked. I did not love the trailer as a piece of art, and the reason why is I just think it opened a little weak. I didn't like the way that the trailer opened. I thought it was the wrong way to show us the first glimpse of the Wonder Woman standalone movie, to have her on top of Chris Pine. I know that that's an integral part of the story that they're telling. I just didn't like the way that it opened, but once we got into the action sequences, I was like, Patty Jenkins is the right person to be directing this movie, because it looks like fantastic, violent. It's everything I wanted to see in Wonder Woman, and so I think the movie looks great. I'm not saying the movie doesn't look awesome. I'm just saying that the trailer, as a 2-minute piece of art itself, I wanted a little bit more. It felt uneven, okay? And a trailer's job is not to be a mini movie, but sometimes I think you can really blow people's socks off, and this one fell short of that, although everything that I see from that trailer makes me think this movie is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I thought the opening was incredible. I thought it was one of the best trailers I've seen at Comic-Con in a long time. I actually really enjoyed the way it opened up. I thought by her approaching, we've always heard of the legend of Steve Trevor. I mean, and Wonder Woman. You know, we've never seen it on screen ever. We have never seen the two of them on screen in their own movie. And if it was some crap porn or something. But you know, as far as like an actual film, we haven't seen it yet. And when they showed up, and it's because they bookended it. They bookended it really well. Starts off with her discovering him, talking about the fact that she's never seen a man, that it was created by Zeus, and then at the very end having that little kind of tag at the end saying, we call it, where I'm from, like we call that slavery. It's like all these things that start and end, but it's the in between, the meet in the middle that was so interesting. The lasso, the action, the way Patty Jenkins shot, the way that they held on those long shots for a bit. You don't see those in trailers for a while, like to where when she came in with that sword, the way that moved in there, and it didn't seem like excessive. It seemed like it fit the story. It was everything I wanted to see from Wonder Woman. It was, if I think that I wish, it's absolutely impossible, but if you would have said when Gal Gadot was introduced as Wonder Woman, everyone's like, I don't know, I don't think she can do it. Mm-hmm. I'd want to show that trailer right there. I'm like, that's Wonder Woman. And it's funny because we had Jamie Alexander in the Fandango studios when that dropped, and she was always my first choice. Mm-hmm. She was always my first choice, and as she was in there, I was looking at her, I'm like, I could still see her as Wonder Woman, but Gal Gadot, after seeing that particular trailer, I'm like, wow, they captured it. Like, they saw it. I wanted it to be epic. It looked epic. I loved the trailer.
And there's the humor again. We have that humor that I guess some people were
not forced.
Not forced is that, we have at the beginning and the end, and some of those shots too. You had Wonder Woman with her shield blocking gunfire, and then she knocks a mortar shell away. You also had that one Warrior Woman leaping like very high in the air with her bow and arrow. There's just so many cool looking shots that like Kristian said, it didn't seem like it was like forced in there, or the slow motion was kind of like for no reason.
Oh yeah, it sold me so much more on Gal Gadot, and I was already sold on her from watching Batman v Superman, so I loved all the Wonder Woman stuff. And yes, I can see you guys in the chat room. I get it. I like the trailer a lot, guys. I really dug it.
No, you didn't.
I didn't think it was the greatest trailer
what I heard was...
So now I'm a sexist moron, and I'm an idiot, and I have an 8-year-old taste. You guys are really cool in the chat room for the most part, but some of you guys need to stop typing on your computer, need to go outside, take a walk around the block, get back in here, maybe get a job, support somebody, and stop yelling at me. What's our next story, Ashley?
On that note, Marvel released their newest trailer for Doctor Strange as part of their show-stopping Comic-Con 2016 panel. The full trailer focused on the mentor relationship between Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange and Tilda Swinton's The Ancient One, who teaches him the ways of mysticism that allow him to travel through dimensions and time. Sinister director Scott Derrickson is behind the camera with a script by Prometheus scribe John Spates. Doctor Strange also stars Chiwetel Ejiofor, Benedict Wong, Wong, Mads Mikkelsen, and Rachel McAdams. The film is set to arrive in theaters November 4th. Mark, thoughts on the newest trailer for Marvel's Doctor Strange?
I hated it, Ashley. Next story. I like this trailer a lot too. This thing was really awesome because you got to see. Not only did you get to see like a clip of Doctor Strange in the panel that we were in Marvel, but you also got to see the actual trailer that we're talking about. And this thing looks so different from other Marvel movies that we've seen, yet it surprised me with how much humor it had in it. Like, Stephen Strange, he's coming at this thing from a scientific approach, so he's a little sarcastic when he's looking at all these new things and experiencing this astral plane for the first time. So I like that dichotomy. I like that it still felt clear in the Marvel Universe, but a different tone that we've seen in there before. This trailer did a lot of great stuff for me, and then you get those huge building, moving Inception kind of moments that people are going to compare this thing to Inception a little bit too much, I think. But the way that it looks like it's taking what Inception did and then going a step beyond, because this thing's made, 8 years after that, and we have so much more technology and effects that we can do with this. They're going to put it all on full display in a couple months when we actually get to see Doctor Strange. Dennis, what was your take on this trailer?
Well, from hearing what you said, it sounded like you hated the trailer or something like that.
Why do you hate magic?
I liked it. I liked that people who saw you and me did a reaction to the first trailer right when it came out a few months ago on Jimmy Kimmel, and people got mad at me because I was like, yeah, I thought it was okay. This one I thought was a lot better because we got to see Doctor Strange in costume using his powers. We got to see it seemed more of like a comic book film. Yes, there is definitely that Inception comparison that's going to be made when you see all those buildings folding over,
which is not a bad thing, by the way.
No, not at all. And then what stood out to me was actually the score, the Michael Giacchino score, that like sounded very Philip Glass-like, had a little Inception kind of influence as well, but that was great. And then we saw Mordu, Chiwetel Ejiofor's character. It seems like he's gonna be, at least in maybe this movie, a good guy. He's gonna be somewhat of a mentor. Him and Wong are be somewhat of a mentor, besides the Ancient One to Doctor Strange.
Kristian, your take on the Doctor Strange trailer?
I'm gonna go with both because we got to actually see a little scene because myself, Ellis.
Stop bragging. Stop bragging.
We were there for you.
In a little hotel, in a little room.
And Riley, we were able to see all this at Hall H, and they showed this scene where Doctor Strange actually meets the Ancient One for the first time, and it set up this trailer that everyone else got to see. I loved it, man, and I think that what's interesting about it is it's so radically different. They promised it was going to be different. It's a risk, for sure, because the litmus test for me is always when I showed my wife a bunch of the trailers last night, and I was like, well, what do you think of this one? She actually liked that one the most, and she said it could either be incredible or it could miss and confuse the hell out of people. And it could. The hardcore Doctor Strange fans will get it, I think, for sure. But I think that it does look very Inception-y, and I'm cool with that. I don't mind. You're going to get the comparisons because of the cities kind of folding in on one another, and that's fine. I don't care about that. But I really liked the character development of what they explained on the panel with Doctor Strange and what he's going to be going through and the relationship he has with Rachel McAdams. But even what Mads Mikkelsen is doing
that
and the way and his look, and even the introduction in the trailer, like. I believe I forget what the exact line was, but it's more or less something like the people stronger than you or men more powerful than you have fallen before. I can't remember what the exact line was, but then you see Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, they cut to Mads Mikkelsen as he's saying that.
Right, or better men than you. I can't remember whatever it was, but this trailer looks like it could be something very special and just a way to kind of spin the Marvel Cinematic Universe on its head for a little bit.
And it also highlighted that scene that Dennis did not get to see because you have the juxtaposition of Stephen Strange coming at life and his injury from a scientific background versus the Ancient One, who's encouraging him that there is this spiritual realm that can heal you in ways you can't possibly imagine. And to see those two worlds collide, this movie is going to be something really special. And after seeing this trailer, even more so than the first one, I'm convinced that Scott Derrickson and his horror background was the right guy to go with for making this movie. So exciting step in a different direction for Marvel. What's up next?
As Marvel put their finishing touches on the big Hall H presentation on Saturday, during the group photo with moderator Chris Hardwick and the cast from from all the upcoming Marvel movies, Kevin Feige announced the picture needed to include everyone from the Marvel family, finally confirming and then bringing out Oscar winner Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Variety reported over a month ago that Larson was the studio's first choice to play Carol Danvers, a U.S. Air Force pilot with superhero abilities. Inside Out co-writer Meg LaFauve and Guardians of the Galaxy co-writer Nicole Perlman are penning the script, but a director hasn't yet been announced. Captain Marvel is slated for a release on March 8, 2019. Kristian, now that we have Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, when do you think a director will be announced?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's right now. Let's just focus on the fact that she's confirmed. As far as when 6 months, a year, whatever. When the movie comes out, then I think within 6 or 7 months when the movie comes out, maybe a year. I don't care right now. We're going to get a good director on it. They're going to put a director on it. I think that the way that they did this was smart. And I think coming off of like Celebration, after you're announced, like, Alden Ehrenreich has been, we got him, guys. He's confirmed. And that's our only announcement. She was the last announcement. They brought everyone else. And by the way, one more special, after we gave you all this great stuff, here's another added bonus for you. Here's some dessert. You got Brie Larson finally confirmed for you guys. And it wasn't like they weren't trying to sell that as one of their big announcements. It was just like, boom, we're going to hit you in the mouth. She's here. She was there for Kong Skull Island. It was kind of rumored she was going to show up. I'm glad that she did. She's a perfect Captain Marvel. I was saying it for a bit when the rumors started coming out that I thought it was a great choice. But as far as the director goes, I mean, when's it scheduled to come out again?
2019. So I think you'll hear something by the end of this
next year. This year?
I think as who's directing the movie, it's
2019.
Yeah, no, it's going to be 2017 before you know it, pal. We're getting old.
Yes,
man.
I think we'll get it in 2017. I don't think why focus on it right now. I mean, let Brie Larson kind of glow in the fact that she is Captain Marvel. We'll get the director and everything else.
She can glow all summer. Then we need to get the movie made too, Like, I am very disappointed, though, because I saw a picture of Brie Larson in that hat, but I did not see that picture.
Oh, I know you saw.
I saw a picture of Brie Larson wearing a black schmoes no hat that apparently a fan at Photoshop, and I was like, who got her that hat? That's amazing. And, well, maybe we'll see if we can get her one. But in the meantime, it is great to see her wearing the Marvel Studios hat and see her as Captain Marvel. I agree with Kristian. The way that this was announced was perfect. They didn't make it the crux of the panel. They put it as the cherry on top of an already delicious sundae. And yeah, Brie Larson is a great choice. And for people like us who report on this kind of news virtually every day, we knew this was coming. We weren't sure we were going to get it at Comic-Con, but we're pretty sure Brie Larson was going to be Captain Marvel, so I can't say I'm shocked with excitement because I was expecting this, and I think it's the perfect call.
Sorry, the reason is that the reason they announced her is because they can pepper her into other films now first.
Yes, I think the rumor is that she's going to be in Infinity War first. When's the first one come out?
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
So if Captain Marvel is coming out 2019, they're going to hopefully introduce her in that. I mean, she would fit into that storyline very well.
I believe that it's going to be 2018 is the first Infinity War, and then you're going to have the Captain Marvel standalone movie coming out earlier in 2019 than Infinity War Part 2. So that's a very interesting positioning.
Yeah, I'm assuming that they're going to have it take place before Infinity War, because if Infinity War is this universe potential ending type of storyline, I don't know if sandwiching like any type of storyline in between that time. It's like what she shows, unless she doesn't show up in part 1 of Infinity War, they do her solo film, and then she shows up in part 2.
Right, and we want to hear from you guys, as we always do in the chat room. Let us know, who do you think should be the director of Captain Marvel? Hit those comments both on YouTube and in the live chat right now. Give us something good to talk about. Ash, what's our next topic?
Just after Marvel wrapped its Comic-Con presentation, where it shared the first footage from their Sony co-production of Spider-Man Homecoming, the official Twitter account for the movie released the first piece of concept art from the Wall Crawler's upcoming film, confirming what was shown in the teaser footage. Vulture will be the villain in the movie. The identity of the villain is still unknown, but many have reported that Michael Keaton will be behind the mask. Marvel also confirmed the identity of the main cast in Black Panther, revealing the roles that will appear alongside Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, that include Michael B. Jordan as the villain Eric Killmonger, Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia, and The Walking Dead's Denai Guerrera as Okoye. Black Panther is set for a release on July 6, 2018. Dennis, what do you think about the roles Marvel revealed for Spider-Man and Black Panther?
Oh, sadly, I was not at the panel.
Really?
So, yeah. Strange how that is. I think the introduction of Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger, people had been speculating he might have been playing another villain called White Wolf, and so now this, kills those ideas. As far as Spider-Man's concerned, I heard there was footage there that people were shown, and that the Vulture was shown, but you didn't get to see who exactly it was. It's got to be Michael Keaton, right? I mean, like, why would you hire him and then have him play just some side character? And also, like I said before, the character of Vulture doesn't really interest me that much, but if you have Michael Keaton playing the Vulture, it interests me a lot. So that's my takeaway from that.
It was great seeing these two things live like we did. And I'm not rubbing it in that, as I'm just mentioning that the way they presented it was awesome, because you got to see the star of the movie come out first and hang out with the director for a little bit, and then they introduced some of the supplementary cast. But the Black Panther thing blew me away, because that's what they opened that panel with pretty much. And it's awesome to see how excited they are. And they did a great job of saying, well, look, we can't really get into specifics about too much yet, because we haven't even finished writing the movie yet, much less start shooting it. It was cool to see Michael B. Jordan up there, because the relationship he already has with Ryan Coogler. It's been great for 2 movies now, and I think it's going to be even better after seeing Black Panther. And then the Spider-Man stuff, like seeing that clip that they showed us of Spider-Man, what his day-to-day is like in high school, it had that coming-of-age vibe that we all assumed we were going to get once we heard the title Spider-Man Homecoming. And that scene of the Vulture at the end was just, it was like, oh yeah, this is still... this isn't all just a kid figuring out who he is in high school. This is also going to be a Spider-Man flick. I love seeing that.
I'll tell you what I love seeing. Obviously, when Ryan Coogler, as you guys know, is one of my favorite directors right now, when they brought him out there. But it was the fact that we saw in Hall H, in front of all these Marvel fans, they're all there, an all-black cast, all director, in this huge, big movie. Coming right off of this Marvel Civil War, introducing one of the most powerful characters in that. And to see that was a big step, where you couldn't imagine that 10, 15 years ago. And to hear how passionate they were about what they're about to start shooting. That's why they didn't show anything in the panel for Black Panther. They haven't started yet. But to hear Chadwick Boseman, to see Michael B. Jordan out there, to see all the new actresses, Lupita Nyong'o, watching all of them, and seeing just the big smiles on their face as they're staring out into the crowd, and hearing Ryan Coogler talking about, like, years ago he was in the back, like, watching, and all that was great. I really want to see what they're going to bring to this thing. We've seen in Ryan Coogler's past 2 projects how much passion he brings to everything, whether it's Fruitvale Station or Creed. I also was part of the people when Michael B. Jordan walked out going, Creed. It kind of had to. But then, Spider-Man. Spider-Man was rumored again. We didn't know what we would see at all. Then they brought Tom Holland out. Like, well, that's cool. They're going to kind of do the same thing they did with Black Panther. And they showed not only like footage, it was like a little trailer. And the trailer was to really show everyone the John Hughes feel, and they said as much in the trailer. When you pitch this, you're gonna be like, it's gonna sound ridiculous, and you're like, it's gonna be like a teen comedy, and you're like, I don't want to see Spider-Man in a teen comedy. Yes, you do. It's done in this way that had a bit of like a John Hughes / American Pie feel, but not to where it was so over the top. You're like, they're just making a joke out of this. I mean, Spider-Man or Peter Parker is kind of hiding in the side and making potions in the lab while he's still kind of hanging out with his friends. But the other thing that I really loved is what they said, and you see this in the trailer. Imagine that you were 15 years old and you were Spider-Man, and all the girls were talking about Spider-Man, and you can't say anything. It's like the coolest thing that you have. You can't talk about it.
I wouldn't be able to not say so.
No, and he's done. And that's,
you'd have your locker. Their Spider-Man mask would be like hanging out from it. Oh, how did I leave that there?
Everybody wants to think they would handle it perfectly. No, I'd be cool. Like if my aunt looked like Marissa Tomei alone, there'd be some weird stuff going on in my house. And then when you go to school and you have all these girls talking about which superhero is the best, even if I wasn't going to reveal that I was Spider-Man, I would at least want to argue that Spider-Man is the sexiest of all the Avengers. It's a really tough line to walk, man. That kid, that is not an enviable position that Spider-Man is in when he's a 15-year-old dude.
But it was cool to see Vulture kind of pop in at the end there. And another reason I think it's going to happen is because it's funny that the look at the loop when you come to the superhero movies or ish that Michael Keaton has been in. Yeah. Batman to Birdman, where he played kind of cracked on and now he's going to be playing Vulture coming off of Birdman. I think it's kind of interesting.
And don't you think like the best advertisement for this new Spider-Man movie was Civil War? I mean, before Civil War came out, people were kind of sick, or not everyone, but some people were just sick of seeing Spider-Man movies. You know?
He stood out in the movie.
And then because he did so well in Civil War, like now everyone's anticipating this one.
Yeah.
Ashley, enough about stuff going on this planet. Let's go to a distant galaxy.
All right. One of the biggest surprises from the Marvel Studios Comic-Con panel at Hall H was the confirmation and reveal of who Kurt Russell is playing in the James Gunn directed sequel Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. During the panel, Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige treated the fans to a scene and first trailer from the movie, with Russell fittingly announced as Star-Lord's father. Many have assumed this parentage would be the case. However, his role was then revealed to be that of Ego, the living planet. In the comics, Ego entered into existence, growing larger and larger by accumulating materials over millions of years. The cosmic being known as the Stranger infused the planet with a conscientiousness whereby it became a living sentient world. How Ego will play Quill's father has yet to be revealed. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 will be released on May 5th, 2017. Mark, what do you think about Star-Lord's father actually being a planet?
Sure. Why not? Like, I'm not going to pretend to know enough about this comic book lore to be like, oh, that's the right play or this is the right thing. Here's why I would buy it if this was a buy or sell, is because A, it's Kurt Russell. So anything the guy does turns the gold, in my opinion. But more importantly, because it's something that you can not only mine to expand the story and the history of Star-Lord, but you can also use this to comedic effect, which they already did in the trailer that they showed us at the panel. It was hilarious after seeing Kurt Russell and Star-Lord, them having an interaction together, him trying to figure out where he came from and how this being bestowed his seed and into this new superhero that we have. That's going to be hilarious. And then you're not even talking about all the other great things that we saw in the trailer, in the clip that they showed us. I forgot how much I love Rocket Raccoon. I think it's awesome that Yondu is going to be maybe start to team up and be
It's part of him now,
another one of the Guardians. Yes. So everything about the material they showed us from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 looks spectacular to me. And Ego, a living planet, Star-Lord's dad, why not? Kristian?
I didn't mind it because, like you said, I don't know enough about the lore to say whether I love it or hate it, but I liked the interaction. I liked the humor. What I also liked is not that James Gunn was handcuffed in the first one. He certainly wasn't. He was able to bring his voice, and I think that's why the movie worked so well the first time around. But it seems like they gave him even more freedom this time around because there are tons of James Gunnisms all over this thing. Is like the humor, it certainly, like you can overcook the humor in Guardians because it calls for it. And there are a lot of those scenes. Rocket stuff was great. Baby Groot is going to crush. They already saw Baby Groot cosplay all over the place. And then there's a funny scene between Ego and Drax when they're talking at the end. And I don't want to spoil this for people who haven't, it hasn't come out yet, but it's a really good scene. And then seeing what Yondu does, seeing the way that he works with them. The planet stuff, sure, whatever. Just explain it the right way, and I'll go, okay, it's in a different galaxy, and you figure out how to explain the lore, cool. But I just really liked what I was seeing. It seemed very consistent. I like that it takes place about 3 months after they've done the events of the first one, and I think we're in for a really good treat.
Dennis, Ego, living planet, Star-Lord's dad?
I'm quite surprised that they revealed this at Comic-Con because this was kind of one of the mysteries surrounding Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I mean, we had done a story about it maybe sometime last year. I remember it was like, because James Gunn had said who who his father was in the comic books wasn't gonna be that Jason. So people, I got in arguments with people online. I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be different. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's gonna be this. They're gonna just change the name. Apparently, it is because this is totally a different change from the comic books. He's a living planet, and then obviously they're gonna have to explain that. Somehow the living planet, I think in the comic books he has like different like drones that he sends out, and so Kurt Russell's some sort of physical manifestation of the planet. Otherwise, how did he conceive with his mother? Unfortunately, I was not at the panel, and so I did not see all this cool footage you guys are talking about. But hopefully, hopefully we'll release it sometime.
Do you guys think that this is just a symptom of the times where whether it's something like a reveal in Guardians Volume 2 or like that Blair Witch movie reveal, where it's just like studios are aware that this is probably going to get out, and so they just want to get in front of it and make sure that they own it, and it actually gets more people talking about it at the biggest event of the year versus having it leak out some other way?
Well, they didn't put it. I mean, you're saying should they just put it out there?
Yeah, I mean, they knew it was going to get out
has
this
it
way.
Has it been getting leaked?
No,
I
but the
don't
same
think
thing with the
so.
Blair Witch, where it's like I think studios are now like they know that stuff that there's so much potential for information to get out that they can't control.
I certainly
want to get in front of it.
I certainly think that's why DC did it, but I think for Marvel, they're not releasing this, and I think James Gunn said that they weren't going to release this stuff, so they're not getting in front of it because I guess no one's.
But he's talking about the actual reveal of who.
The reveal itself. Sure. I think that was. I mean, I think that was something. That, they wanted to get out there for sure because there's no way you can if you're gonna
right. You're not going to stand in front of 6,000 people and be like,
tell
hey,
anybody.
don't tell anybody.
Or why say it at all if they weren't going to do it?
Yeah.
But I think the thing why anyone hasn't mentioned this. Tango and Cash are in another movie together and in a trailer.
Chris Pratt mentioned it.
So,
did he really?
Yeah, are they going to bring
Yeah.
Terry Hatcher into Tango and Cash?
You would hope so.
know.
You would think she belongs in
So
that
she's
movie
going to be in
somewhere.
Guardians now.
Before we do move on, though, one thing we didn't talk about real quick was the Thor Ragnarok stuff.
Okay.
The Thor Ragnarok stuff is pretty much confirming in the footage that we saw. There was a lot of concept art because they just started filming it. Is Planet Hulk, man? Like they were. There's 2 shots of him in the gear, like fighting gladiator style, and
It looked like a finished effect shot.
it did. One of them
Hulk.
too.
It
And
was
when he was jumping up at
phenomenal.
the very end. I mean, I like what they were showing for Thor Ragnarok. I was the most excited about any Thor movie from the stuff that they showed in that movie or in that little footage piece. But I think that they're starting to really kick into gear with that one.
Yeah.
Was it actual footage from the movie, or was it just concept art?
Parts of it, like they had Thor in green screen in the very beginning and kind of him in action, but with nothing really.
It
in the
looked like
background.
behind the scenes
Like,
footage.
they've been
and
filming
then
for
into
3
some
days.
Concept
Yeah.
art. They also showed the first shot of Kate Blanchett like in the costume. So
Right.
there was a lot of great stuff there. That Marvel panel blew us away. And before we get to our last topic on the sidebar, we want to let you guys know we will save some time for your live Twitter questions. So start firing those in right now at Collider Video. And now let's clean up some of that other cool info from the Warner Brothers panel.
After the huge DC panel was finished in Hall H on Saturday, Warner Brothers then turned to promote their other blockbusters, revealing a new trailer for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, along with the first trailer releases for Kong Skull Island and Guy Ritchie's King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. The 1970s set reimagining of King Kong was a huge hit with the fans in attendance, with Kings of Summer director Jordan Voight Roberts telling the fans it's a dream come true to be up on a panel at Hall H. Kong Skull Island stars Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson and opens in theaters on March 10, 2017. The other first look came from Sherlock Holmes director Guy Ritchie's gritty retelling of King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. The film stars Charlie Hunnam as Arthur, who finds himself squaring off against his uncle Jude Law after he murders his father and brother in order to take over the throne. And the last trailer featured was a new look at the J.K. Rowling written Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, starring Eddie Redmayne and directed by longtime Harry Potter director David Yates. King Arthur hits theaters on March 24, 2017, with Fantastic Beasts coming later this year on November 18th. Kristian, what was your favorite new trailer released by Warner Brothers?
Kong for sure, but I'd say Kong and Suicide Squad were the 2 that I enjoyed the most from the Warner Brothers. That wasn't the ones that we already talked about. Kong, because I think that Kong needs to take this legend into a different direction. They certainly are. We were wondering how big he's going to be. He is gigantic. This is the biggest Kong that we've ever seen. Again, I sat down with both the director, John Goodman, and Tom Hiddleston, and I was talking about it right after I saw the trailer, and I had mentioned to them that to me it seemed like this trailer was like Apocalypse Now meets Predator, from the way that it was set up in that tone. I felt like it was the way that Sam Jackson was kind of setting things up with the helmets, and it was great, man. Like the very end, I don't want, and Kong was peppered in there. I like that he was just peppered in there. I think that they're going to show him a couple more times as we get more trailers, but I love the tone, and I also love that I don't know what's going to happen to this version of Kong. Every other Kong that I was like, I'm gonna see it, and then he's gonna fall off the building, and I'm gonna feel like when my dog died or something. But every time he dies, it feels like I hate it. I hate watching him die. But I'm not gonna watch him die this time. At least I don't think.
Well, we have Godzilla versus King Kong, I'm hoping
that's
he's
what I'm
not
saying.
dying.
So like, I finally get to see what he's gonna do. I loved it. As far as King Arthur goes, I don't know. I just the Guy Ritchie style is either going to really help it and make it different, or it's going to make it too jarring. So I wasn't crazy about it.
I was impressed because I expected nothing from the King Arthur trailer, and you're right. I mean, I like seeing the Guy Ritchie vibe in there because it looked quick, it looked fun. It could end up being like A Knight's Tale. Remember that movie with Heath Ledger, where they used some modern music and it felt like they were speaking in more of a modern tongue, but it still took place in medieval times. Which, look, I'm fine with. I'm not going into this wanting like a step by step as to anything that actually happened, because the entire King Arthur thing is one big legend in itself. So have some fun with it. The Fantastic Beasts trailer I thought was great. Plus, they gave me a free wand, so that helps. But the Kong Skull Island trailer it's something I was hoping to see, and man, did I love checking it out. And we got to see more Kong than I thought we would. I thought we might get like just a little bit of like eyes or something in there. You could actually compare this trailer to how much they showed Godzilla in the actual movie Godzilla, because you get like a little couple maybe full half body shots in the beginning. Then at the end, you actually got to see, and it wasn't Kong like roaring, like pounding his chest. It was just like Kong after he woke up from a nap. He took a couple hour nap. He woke up at 3:30 and he's just like, oh hey, there's people here. The size of Kong is something I noticed, and you can kind of compare it to all the bones that these people are walking by. This is a Kong that is going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with the Godzilla. Everybody loves to say that Kong would never be Godzilla because this new Godzilla is so huge. This ain't your daddy's Kong. This is another Kong. And even if this particular ape that we saw is not King Kong,
right,
if it's his dad, if it's his uncle, there's going to be huge apes in here ready to do battle against the likes of Godzilla, and I think they can handle Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson and company. Great cast, awesome trailer. Very excited to see my boy back on screen.
Yeah, lots of trailers. You mentioned that Suicide Squad one. I'm surprised they didn't sell that more as another trailer. They called it a soundtrack remix, but there was actually a lot of new footage in there and try to show more of kind of the team aspect and kind of the villains that they're going to be fighting. I guess the villains fighting whatever the bigger villain is. Kong, yeah, definitely out of all of the ones that we mentioned was the one that stood out for me. I liked, like you said, they're showing the size, that bloody handprint on the mountainside. I was surprised. I didn't know John Goodman was going to have such a big role in it, because it seems like there's something between Sam Jackson and John Goodman in that, where even Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson were kind of like an afterthought, at least in that teaser trailer.
Well, I mean, it looks like Goodman has a big role, but he also could be the guy that is
he dies like 15 minutes.
He gets them to the island and then goes.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, I know all the secrets, and then he dies.
Yeah, so it's, we'll have to wait and see that. But we're not going to have to wait that long, because they also, this weekend, I guess, that poster for Skull Island came out, and looks pretty cool.
The Fantastic Beasts trailer, that was, they showed more of the creatures and the visual effects. I think they're going to start putting forward the whole idea of it being Harry Potter related more so, just like I mentioned in our trailer review and reaction about Rogue One. They have to tie that in, because people still, the casual movie fans don't know that this is not Episode 8, and so with the Fantastic Beasts, they got to sell it Harry Potter, but yet this is not in the same time period. And then the King Arthur stuff was. When we first heard that King Arthur was going to be directed by Guy Ritchie, I was wondering if he was going to tone down his style at all. Apparently not.
He ramped it up.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, you see like GoPro shots, you see freeze frames, rewinds. You're talking about the modern language,
contemporary
dialogue.
music.
Yeah,
too.
so they definitely are. He's doing a Guy Ritchie version of a fantasy film, and that's either going to be really awesome, or is it's gonna be terrible?
And for what it's worth, at that Hall H panel, Conan O'Brien moderated the DC and the Warner Brothers panels because they were right next to each other, kind of the same thing. And Charlie Hunnam just came out by himself, and him bantering with Conan O'Brien was really funny. It was hysterical stuff. Okay, before we move on to live Twitter questions, our own Wendy Lee has been saddled with the unenviable task of moderating the chat room today. The comments have been flying fast and particularly furious. Wendy, let's talk about the fans' response to the Justice League trailer and that Wonder Woman trailer. Then maybe we'll close out with some Guardians talk.
Well, sure. For the Justice League trailer, there's a lot of love for it, actually, and they are loving the look of Jason Momoa as Aquaman. And naturally, they're comparing the Ezra Miller version of The Flash to the Grant Gustin version of The Flash. Heath Jones says, Comic-Con reinvigorated my excitement for the DC Cinematic Universe. I want their movies to be good, and I think they will be. And Cody Nelson says, the new Aquaman looks like it would be a bad idea to owe him money. For the Wonder Woman trailer, and Mark, I just want to point out for you that there are people who agreed with you about the Wonder Woman trailer.
I don't really care.
All right. So this trailer got a lot of people pumped for the movie, seeing her in action, sliding on her shield, using the lasso, and especially when her theme song came in at the end of the trailer. Jay Kelly says Gal Gadot is perfect as Wonder Woman, and Jeff and Patty Jenkins are giving us the Wonder Woman origin story that we deserve. And then moving on to the Star-Lord's father story. There's a lot of discussion on how Ego, a living planet, procreated with Star-Lord's mom. K. Ross 2144 says, I think that it was the right move to announce the living planet. It will take some time to explain the idea. And Guy with an amazing hat says, Ego has a soul gem. He transferred his soul to a human body. And finally, I wanted to close out with this comment. Rodriguez Diaz says, before we saw Kurt Russell become a planet on Collider, we saw Kristian Harloff do it first. Hashtag vacationing Harloff Minor.
Oh, that's right. Maybe Harloff Minor can somehow get its way into the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Do you think you can be a part of that war as well?
No.
Good effort, though. Let's move on to live Twitter questions. Ashley, what's up first?
Okay. Doug Joseph writes, was there anything you were hoping to see at SDCC but didn't get?
Ooh, great query. I mean, the Justice League was the one that I was most like, maybe they'll show it, maybe they won't. Followed closely by whether they announced Brie Larson officially as Captain Marvel. You got me too excited, I think, because when the cast of Black Panther came out, you immediately, like, dude, he gave everybody a standing ovation as they were coming out. And then you look over at me and you're like, are they going to show footage? And I was like, I didn't know they started shooting yet. And then,
I didn't know.
But then all of a sudden I was like, oh, they're going to show footage of Black Panther, and then they didn't. So it was the right timing for it to happen.
Right.
But we got to see so much cool stuff. I can't really complain about anything I didn't get to see. It's weird to have Star Wars have no presence at Comic-Con because they have Rogue One coming out later this year and then Episode 8 next year. But I understand it because they had Star Wars Celebration a week before, and when Star Wars likes to make a splash, they like to be by themselves when they make a splash. They don't want it to get lost in the wash of all the other footage coming out. So I get that play, although selfishly, if I could hang out at Comic-Con and see a little Star Wars clip, that would feel cool too.
I can't believe that I'm going to be doing this because I did this last week. I got to take another shot at Star Wars. It wasn't, not that they didn't show Rogue One, they weren't going to show it. They didn't announce any new comics at Star Wars. At Comic-Con, like Star Wars, that's what we thought they were holding it. They have all this Marvel line. It would have been the perfect time to do it. They didn't do any Marvel comics, Star Wars comics announcement at Celebration. They did nothing at Comic-Con.
Oh, they did. They showed us two tubes.
Right.
Two tubes. Like me and Riley talked about it. Like they showed this. They had a new character in Rogue One. It was. Edrio two tubes.
I couldn't believe it. Like there was
that was the hot scoop.
I really thought that they were going to announce. I mean, I was like a 99% guarantee they would tell you all the new titles from the new comics. Nothing.
Well,
but I was telling you, with the feature film stuff, everything we kind of thought and rumored, that all happened. Like it was like, I wish that we would have done the kind of special on that because we thought we were gonna get this, we got that, and we got all of it. Like DC and Marvel. People are like, who won between DC and Marvel? I think it's
the
split,
fans
man.
won.
Honestly, the fans did win on that one.
Well, actually, the fans that were in Hall H. Not this fan.
DC came to play. DC came to play, and they came to play by saying we're here and we're kicking ass and we're showing everybody. Yeah. Marvel said we don't need to show everybody, but for the people there, we're going to kick ass, and they both did. They just did it in their own separate ways. But I don't think either one did it in like, oh, they beat them. No, you're absolutely right. The fans won. I'm just curious if they're even going to be there next year.
Yeah, and how exciting was it? I mean, after seeing all the DC stuff, all the Marvel stuff, to see Ashley, Sinead, and Natasha on stage together dancing at a Collider event. It's like you're never going to see that again. Ever.
Stop. You came to dance with us afterwards.
I was pretty good.
You were good. I'll give you that.
You hear that?
Did you do your thing? This one that you do?
No.
He actually moonwalked.
I got all new moves.
No, he twerked.
Oh my God! I'm sorry I asked.
Next question.
Okay. Iran Kujango writes, what do you dread most about SDCC every year?
Here's the issue, and it's really something that we shouldn't be complaining about, but the intense workload that happens when we go there, because we are going primarily as fans, but we also have jobs to do there, and sometimes you're covering something for Collider, then you're covering something for Schmoes, and then you have some Nerd HQ stuff to do, you have some Fandango stuff to do, so there's a lot of work that goes into it. So every time like a studio is on stage in Hall H, they're like, but we're not done showing you footage. In the back of my head, I'm like, oh, this is another video I gotta shoot. Like, you get really tired. And the thing is, it's not a problem shooting the vids, because I love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do on earth. It's the vocal cords, and it's that I know I don't look like my best self by the time Saturday comes around, because I've been partying pretty hard for 3 nights. So I know I'm gonna look hungover, and all these vids are gonna be seen by millions of people. So, you know, it doesn't matter to me. Everything about Comic-Con, I love downtown San Diego. I hope it stays in San Diego, because
I love San Diego. Well, for me, it's, look, we plan for Comic-Con weeks, maybe sometimes months in advance. We got to book the hotels. We got to, set up schedules. We line up interviews. We know who's going to cover what. We get our master plan set like the Tuesday before Comic-Con. Then Wednesday, as I'm driving up, between the time I leave LA and I get to Comic-Con, I have all these emails about all these different changes and all these things. There's just a lot of stuff that you have to be adapting to, because at one point, you're shooting trailer reviews, reactions, you're shooting interviews, you have someone shooting something at Hall H, you have someone shooting something at Ballroom 20, you have all these things going around, and you're just trying to move all these pieces around, and it's not always the easiest, because you just don't have everything you need.
Never check your phone while driving, kids. What do you got?
Well, for me, it's being away from my family for so long. It's a
no, pick something real.
Oh, sorry. The Hangover, and coming into work on Monday, which is that's after working 5 days of that.
I think
there's a lack of
pretty
sleep
good.
too. There's a lack of sleep
That's
that you
what it
get
is.
because you're working most of the day, and then you want to unwind, and maybe you'll be drinking a little at the end of the night, and then by the time you wake up, it's like you slept 3 hours.
I think 2 other things. One is that I still wish that San Diego would update their damn convention center. There's just so Saturday. I don't walk.
What do you mean update? Like
expand it, man. Like I don't even go close to. I don't go near the floor on Saturdays because you can't even move. It's like it's so and I feel so bad for people who are waiting online at Hall H. I talked to a guy yesterday. Guy was waiting online for Hall H for 7 hours and didn't get in. And it's like that's 7 hours he could have been doing other things. He tried, and there's so many people that you could fill out. You can imagine if they expanded Hall H and they did these other things with that convention center, you get so many more people in. But that's another.
Sometimes they do things at other convention halls. I've noticed where, like, if you don't get into the arena where they're showing all the footage and having all the panels, they have like the runoff room. They have like the excess room where you go in and you're not live in that room, but they have a feed that just goes to that room where you can hang out and at least see the panels. Because if you wait in line for that long, you're right, you do deserve something.
I think the thing that I always knows coming is
the smell.
At least 3 or 4 people. At least 3 or 4. Why are you putting out so many videos? It's clogging my subscription. It's Comic-Con.
Yeah.
There's tons of information. Shut your ass. That's all I got.
We have some breaking news. Ashley, did you have that article
Yeah,
brought
Grant
up?
tweeted at us, and he says, Kiersey Clemons to star in the Flash movie as Iris West, and he linked a Variety article.
So, yeah, there had been rumors between her and a few other females about playing Iris West in the Flash movie. It looks like it's confirmed. Not a huge surprise, just given her relationship with the director. I like this choice. I really liked her in Dope, and I thought she was pretty good in Neighbors 2, The Sorority Rising, or whatever the hell that's called.
Yeah, this is good news to hear it officially confirmed. When we first reported on it, it was just a rumor, and it's kind of the same thing with the Brie Larson Captain Marvel, where you would assume if it's not already in ink somewhere that they're the clear front runner, and so it's nice to see it pay off. I agree with Dennis. I think it's the right decision.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that when that was announced, we were all like, "This is gonna happen."
Yeah, so it's nice to know that sometimes dreams come true. Let's do 2 more Twitter questions. It's a special show.
Cool. Kylo Ben writes, was it a mistake not to show a Power Rangers trailer only 8 months away?
Interesting.
I had hoped that they would have shown a teaser trailer. Perry actually got to interview the cast of Power Rangers, and they came in. They were very nice. They're very energetic, and I had hoped that they would have released something. I know they didn't have a panel, so why not have like just a, I don't know, 15, 20-second teaser trailer?
I know they were doing tons of press for it because Tiffany and I talked to them also, and I will say this about the kids in the movie because they're kids. And we were talking to them, and they're very passionate about it, and they've done, and like some of them were real fans of the material, and they were. But yeah, there was not. I would assume they were going to show something to get you excited. It was weird that they didn't because I think to the outlets that are interviewing them, sure, but we all know like celebrity interviews and stuff. If it's not connected to a lot of footage, depending who it is, it does all right.
And especially, this is, I mean, a relatively unknown cast. I mean, they've all done stuff before, but it's not like they're big, celebrities yet. So it would have been nice to tie in, like you said, some footage.
And on the one hand, I mean, you understand that if they don't have footage that they think is ready to show or properly reflective of what they want to put out, that they're not going to show. But it's also like, when you're making these movies, that Comic-Con is the biggest place to drop your new footage, to make an announcement. So you would think by now that they would realize, okay, this is our production schedule. We need to have something ready for Comic-Con, because you can tell when the other studios that do it well, they prepare for this event. They know that they want to impress the fans at Comic-Con, because the buzz you can get off something like that can carry you right through the opening of the movie. So it is a little surprising. I'm not a huge Power Rangers guy, so it wasn't like I was walking away from Comic-Con like, no Power Rangers, but you would think they would have brought something. All right, last Twitter question.
Okay, Van Spear writes, what will it take for SDCC to sell online passes for live streaming?
A whole lot of security and a whole lot of firewalls, and they need to make sure that if they are live streaming it, that the stream works properly when it's supposed to be working, and that it's able to shut off when they're showing footage that is just exclusive to Hall H. Because we were so in the midst of things, I wasn't really, cognitive of if they were live streaming anything in Hall H.
They were
doing it like a day after.
I think on Comic-Con HQ you can subscribe and watch the live stream, but they do cut it off for footage. I assume that the Warner Brothers stuff, they probably just streamed that stuff because they were going to release it online anyway. But Marvel probably had them cut off any footage stuff.
Yeah, Hall H, live stream, your take?
So, I mean, I like the fact that they're doing it, but I mean, as far as footage goes, too?
Yeah,
it just depends on the studio, I think. Whether or not they want to release it, it's the same thing.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that was a very entertaining show, and we want to thank all you guys for tuning in live and watching us. The numbers were huge, and the news was huge, and we are very, very tired from Comic-Con. So I do want to give one more huge shout-out to everybody behind the scenes here at Collider, all of our tech people that work so hard, not just today, but this entire Comic-Con extravaganza. They are the true heroes of this operation. The people at the front of the panel are merely the talking hairdos or hats in my case, and let's meet them right now. Dennis, where can everybody find you?
I just want to remind everyone, yes, we are having a TV talk later today, and yes, they are going to be talking about Comic-Con stuff, talking about the Flash panel, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends Tomorrow. We had that Ghost Rider news, being in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. What else? Like, just a ton of other stuff, so stay tuned for that later today. You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and on Instagram, Dennis.tzng.
Kristian Harloff, you did a lot of cool stuff at Comic-Con. Where can everybody find it?
Well, people are asking where they can find my reaction to the Wonder Woman and Justice League trailers. If you go to Facebook, Fandango's Facebook page, and I think on on Movie Clips, you can find it as well. But go there, check it out. Tiffany and I did a lot of interviews over there, and you can find me, Kristian Harloff, on Twitter and Instagram.
Wendy over there, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney.
And of course, Ashley Mova, where can all the kids find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Ashley Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
Wednesday? Oh, well.
Happy Monday.
Wow. Yeah, someone's got
Monday
Comic-Con. Someone's got a Comic-Con hangover.
Is Monday. Kristian,
Wednesday.
we have one more huge announcement as Ashley looks at her calendar.
Well, Friday, this is a big match. We're going to have Sam Levine going up against Clark Wolf. The winner plays Dan Murrell for the championship in August.
This is for the #1 contender spot.
Whoever wins this gets a shot at Murrell for the championship. So you're going to have Clark Wolf versus Sam Levine this Friday.
Good to be back in town. Good to have another huge Schmodown coming this Friday. My name is merely Mark Ellis. You guys can find me at Mark Ellis Live. If you want to comment on what I do in person, come see me do stand-up sometime. MarkEllisLive.com is where you can go for all my upcoming tour dates. On behalf of everybody here, you fans are the best in the world. Yes, even you guys I yelled at earlier. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Ashwin, suck it.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.